My name is TP Govender, and today we are very fortunate to have our guest lecturer, Ms. Gloria, present with us. I shared the little email that I received from her to inform you of who you are going to be listening to today. Right. So Ms. Gloria tells me that she's a researcher at the Durban University of Technology. In fact, I listened to one of her presentations at the research department's I think it was a presentation on what was it, Ms. Gloria? If you may.
That was the online entrepreneur exhibition.
Oh, thank you. It was an online entrepreneurial exhibition. So Ms. Gloria presented, and well, I was fortunate. I overheard it on my wife's laptop, and she was talking about ERPs, and I said, let me pay attention to what she had to say. So Ms. Gloria, just to go back to her little resume or CV or her biography, her research goals and achievements have been centered on information technology and how it impacts many fields. Now that's our course, IT. The course is called Information Technology. She comes from a diverse background that incorporates management sciences and technology. It's been her desire to explore the interrelationship between information technology and other fields such as accounting, finance, business, and management. Now, you guys are accounting, auditing students, taxation students. This ambition has further been driven by the emergence of the fourth industrial revolution that seeks to automate many organizational functions and applications. Now, that's what I've been talking to you about. SAP automates our business functions, right? We've been talking about this. Her research agenda from her graduate diploma has always been focused on the above themes. She's created a proliferation of information and computer systems in an era where this seems to be fundamentally grounded. Her qualifications: she has a certificate in project management, graduate diploma in management studies, an advanced diploma in business studies, advanced diploma in accounting and finance, and she is busy working on her master's study. And what attracted me to invite her as a guest lecturer was she was involved in ERP systems, and her presentation at the entrepreneurial exhibition spoke about ERP systems. With that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Ms. Gloria, the stage is yours. So feel free when you are ready to share your presentation with us. And students, if you have any questions, Dr. Mudley as well, feel free to use the chat. I assume that Ms. Gloria would allow us questions at the end. So Ms. Gloria, over to you.
Thank you, Doc. Can everyone hear me before we proceed?
Loud and clear, ma'am. I can hear you, sir.
Perfect. Okay, good morning to everyone, especially Dr. Mudley and Dr. Govender. Thank you very much for this opportunity to have this guest lecture with your students. I'm sure it's going to go a long way in terms of equipping them, as well as myself. Let's say teaching is a two-way thing, so it's not a one-way thing. And without wasting of time, I would like to just go straight to what we have for today. I'm sure my introduction does me well, and I'm currently completing, actually I'm awaiting my master's outcome, so it's completed, and hopefully looking forward to seeing how we can extend the work. Okay, just a background. I'm just gonna work with the slides and the presentation that I did at the entrepreneurship presentation, but I modified it a little bit more to incorporate some things which I think will be beneficial to this lecture. Okay, again, my name, if you look at my name, it's Ayokeboy Fizitone, and mostly go by Gloria. So most of my emails, you see Gloria Pizitone, but my name's on most of my publication, official documents, is Ayokeboy Pizitone. Okay, so the topic is critical success factors for ERP systems implementations. So as an introduction, let's look at the where we're coming from. In today's environment, it is very competitive around the enterprise industries all over the globe. And many organizations are looking at how to regain a competitive advantage, differentiation, and also reformed in the process. Implementing new information systems such as ERP systems is one of the fastest way and most effective way to achieve an enterprise reformation. ERP is considered by researchers, practitioners, as one of the most innovative development in information technology for effective and efficient information management. ERP implementation is essential for building a strong IS, that's information system infrastructure, that unify business functions to automate and integrate core businesses or processes across departments. Okay, some of the background where this work actually based or this work is actually centered. Why is ERP important? Why are we considering it? Why are we looking into it? Well, from many perspectives, the value of ERP or a successful ERP implementation cannot be ignored or replaced by any others, given the fact that it connects functional systems that are loose, like taking departments from different departments, different functions, it brings them together under one umbrella. However, despite those benefits, ERP has been seen to be a blessing and a curse. How is that so? In theory, it's actually pointed out to be beneficial as a single software solution that replaces various functional IS information systems. While in practical, it has been reported to be highly complex as well as difficult undertaking. Sorry for that. As well as a difficult undertaking faced with many challenges such as failures, inappropriate usage, overspent budgets, delays, premature termination, and there are many more problems, especially in the wake of the fourth industrial revolution. Now, this is where my interest comes in. The concept of critical success factors has been a few or has been a concept that has been protruded to solve most of these issues. So it looks into areas and operation that should be primarily focused on to achieve the most satisfying result when it comes to ERP system. Having said that, some of the most research problems identified includes high failure, particularly in the higher educational system. And I'm sure you all know that the ITS is one of such ERP integrated systems. Inappropriate usage, where people don't know what exactly to do, and also they're not familiar with the software. The ERP system complexity, it's not as easy as it looks. Overspend budgets and delay. We have real-time challenges where it'll take a while for certain things to be uploaded. It takes a while for certain things to be reflected, despite being captured on the system. The impact on job roles. People are actually losing their jobs in terms of that. They no longer have to do certain things manually, but rely on the software, especially for auditors and accounting, which their roles, I think, in the nearest future will assume to control and maintenance, because you have the software replacing most of their job functions and doing most of the things that they do. And just as technology is prone to errors and mistakes as well, that's where the auditors and the accountants come in to see how they can monitor and also control some of the functions or some of the things that are being done on the ERP platform. ERP in a regulated business processes. Again, this is another challenge. Now, most of the softwares are standard prepared or standard built, and having to work in a business process or business environment that's regulated is a challenge. Let's look at taxation, for example. You have laws or rates that constantly change every year. You've got probably a different rebate or a different rate that will come up, and you have to make sure that the settings or some of this application actually accommodate that. And looking again at some of the laws that are also being passed, you have to make sure that this also implements or incorporate this particular legislations or laws that are characterizing this particular area. The next is positioning the ERP as an intelligence system in the fourth industrial revolution. This is one area that I've actually been very interested in because ERP is going nowhere and it's here to stay. So far, there is no integrated information system that can connect and put together loosely functioned departments or roles. And in the fourth industrial revolution, we are looking at how can this system be positioned to be an intelligence system that is sustainable in businesses. And then in the center of the critical success factors, which we already posted, alluded to be those core areas and operations that are necessary for the successful ERP implementation. There have also been challenges with regards to this critical success factors being enormous, and there is no sense or meaning or insight that are afforded by this. Okay, so many research gaps can be identified. You've got the real-time challenges, you've got IT and regulated professions, you've got vendors and business process alignment, you've got the higher education institution high failure rate, you've got effective and reliability of IT applications. Now, let's look at the aim of the work that I was doing to determine the requirement for a successful implementation of ERP systems within an organization. More explicitly, to unearth those crucial key factors that impact the implementation of ERP system. Specifically, the question that this work actually aimed to answer was, what are the crucial factors or critical factors for successful implementation of an ERP system? The objective was developing a critical success framework to be a resilient integrated information system infrastructure that will enhance an inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation in South Africa and the rest of the African continent. Okay, how do we do this? We've seen the problems, we've identified the gaps, we've come up with something that we want to do. So how do we do this? Now, the project, through the concept of critical success factors and in ERP systems, use a novel determinations of rigorous scientific methods such as PCA, MCA, advanced applications of advanced impact analysis and data science environment for knowledge analysis was used. Now, I've got several publication output, the one on PCA, and I'm happy Dr. Modley is here. I did a work with Dr. Mjali and one of the students as well, and it was based on PCA in the auditing department, in the auditing field. So it's very interesting for us to note that when we begin to encounter situations with ERP system, we want to make meaning out of it. We want to have insight out of it. And how can we have this insight out of it? We use novel methods. And one of those novel methods were the PCA, the MCA, the ADVN application, which has never been used before in detail, and especially in the wake of data science in the fourth industrial revolution. So the PCA, for example, was used to look at the variability, while the MCA was used to look at the association. The advent, on the other hand, was used to rate and measure the impact of these factors and also their interrelationship. Like I said, these methods address different dilemmas confronting the ERP system implementation. Well, how does this align, or how is it relevant when we look at the society? Is it just an academic venture? Is it just limited to academia, or does it have an impact in the society or in the global atmosphere? Well, when we look at the UN, Sustainable Goal 9, which centers on industry and innovation and infrastructure, we can clearly align this research or the trend in ERP research to these goals 9. One of the first targets was to develop quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure. As we are all aware, infrastructure does not necessarily have to mean buildings. We need IT infrastructures as well, which is going to be beneficial to the environment, as well as also sustainable to the businesses and organization. Promote inclusive, sustainable industrialization by 2030. Well, in the trend of this, we can actually say that if we continue to look at ERP implementation, something that will promote an inclusive and sustainable industrialization by 2030. Increase access to small scale industrial and other enterprise, especially in developing countries, to financial service, including affordable credit and integration of value chain and markets. Well, this is very crucial, especially in South Africa, where there is a desire or a keen interest to foster and to promote small enterprises. Now, many enterprises cannot afford such systems, and given that they're also not aware of the benefits that it brings to their organization, they are lacking behind when it comes to this. And that also brings us to a thought which we should actually conceive, which I was hoping to share down the line. Developing and building a software that is an integrated system software that will be centered or characterized to equip and to assist businesses in Africa. Okay, by 2030, upgrade infrastructure and retrofit industry to make them sustainable. Like I said, ERP is going nowhere. It's come to stay. However, it needs to be upgraded in order for it to fit into the fourth industrial revolution. Enhance scientific research and upgrade technological capabilities of industry sectors in all countries. Now, in my particular work, I've had about 5 publications just from my work, and I believe that those 5 publications enhance the scientific research that centers or surrounds ERP system, and I've extended it to other fields such as auditing, accounting as well. So we're not just looking at the IT, we're looking at how it's impacting these areas, and as well as enhance research scientifically. Facilitate sustainable and resilient infrastructure development in developing countries through enhancing financial, technological, and technical support to African countries. The technological and technical support is very essential when it comes to facilitating a sustainable and resilient infrastructure. Next, support domestic technology development. That again supports the fact of developing and building our own ERP system. As we commonly know, most of the drivers when it comes to ERP are SAPs, Oracles, and the like, and they're not center or African focus. So developing a domestic technology will actually go a long way to planting our foot down when it comes to advancing IT and advancing applications in the society. Significantly increase access to information and communication technology, and provide a universal and affordable access to internet, and at least in least developed countries by 2030. Sorry, that's an oversight there. So this is actually from the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and as you can see, it aligns perfectly with the ERP system implementation. Okay, feasibilities and delivery. So how do we contextualize it into our own setting? In the fourth industrial revolution, the upsurge of data analytics to leverage the software and technologies dissatisfaction has been herald in recent time, especially in the pandemic. Now we've got machine learning and artificial intelligence that has been used to afford insight to solving practical problems. I was actually considering doing another work which uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to bring insight into the critical success factors when it comes to predicting success and failure as well, given that when an organization decides to undertake an implementation, they can look into what has been, will be maybe a pilot study, and check to see if we undertake this, do we have all the critical success factors that are necessary to deliver a successful implementation? And if that is the case, are they actually going to guarantee success at the end of it? That's a future research goal which I'm planning to undertake. Now, the market segment will include national and subsequently global enterprises using an adopted integrated IT system. In other words, there is a market for ERP systems, and we have to see how to develop the insight that will fit into this market. And now the offerings will be in three phases. So in other words, how can we deliver or bring deliveries when it comes to ERP systems? Now they can be consultancy. Actually, I shared with the first presentation I did, I said I never saw this being feasible. I never saw this actually happen until I received an email from one company from the US and Canada. Actually, they're based in US and Canada, and the company contacted me to have a meeting as they found one of the publication online, and they were looking to get in contact with the authors and also to have them input into what they're currently doing, which is centered on ERP. So ERP is not only limited when it comes to nationally, but it's a global interest. Ongoing research, like I said, I've highlighted some future research work that I aim to do. Cutting edge home-based software development technologies similar to ITS, Sage, and Oracle, and realizing that objective will not only contribute to building a resilient IT infrastructure in Africa and the global arena, but will also prevent unpleasant threats like the Oracle and ESCOM fiasco. Now, I put a link here, but if you've got the time, you may want to check that up. And recently, last month, they made news where Oracle threatened to withdraw their tech support from ESCOM over payment dispute. So Oracle claim ESCOM is owing them billions. Yes.
Excuse me, Gloria.
Yes.
Could you put the link in the chat?
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay. So Oracle claimed ESCOM is owing them billions, while ESCOM claimed for that they only owing them millions. So it was actually a court issue, but apparently Oracle actually won to withdraw support. Now, the most concerning thing about this is the fact that we already at the adverse side when it comes to ESCOM. There's always load shedding, and sometimes you never know when to expect it. Now, if they are to claim that our tech support it's not efficient, in addition to the in addition to the shortage that they already experiencing when it comes to supply of power, then it means South Africans should be embracing themselves to something even more worse than the load shedding. Well, this can practically be solved if we have people who say, let us develop our own center-based information, which is, again, the cutting-edge home-based software development technology. So we give the support, we offer the support, and also get probably the government seeing that they are aware of all of this to support. And I believe that they will go a long way to support, and things will be increasing and building the IT infrastructure in South Africa. So in conclusion, determining critical success factors as a product in the industrial and infrastructure domain can be an effective strategy to reduce ERP failures and related challenges that are mentioned, and subsequently enhance and provide a platform for South African information system infrastructure. Provide systems and products that support industrialization and enhance analysis and familiar organization for sustainable productivity. In so doing, we align and implement the DUT Envision 2030 goal with the UNSG 9 that seeks to create a digital environment where systems such as AI create a state-of-the-art infrastructure, that's in terms of IT infrastructure, and leverage new knowledge and solution for societal impact, which is innovation and entrepreneurship. Okay, I just listed some references, and that's the end. Okay, let me stop sharing and then we can have some questions.
Thank you very much, Miss Gloria. Well, you can see Miss I seem to have lost you for a second or two.
Yes,
yes,
I locked you there as well.
Sorry about that. My internet, I just switched over to another modem.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Miss Gloria. I can assure you that my students were paying attention. I think it was Mr. Hadeba that interrupted you and asked you for that link. I quickly found that link and I posted it in the chat.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope it's the right one, Ms. Gloria. You can verify that for me. I'm really happy that you have submitted your master's study. So we are all wishing you well, hoping that you're going to give us some good news very soon.
Definitely.
Right? So I'm going to open the floor to my students. If any of you have a question, please raise your hand. And I've got some questions, but let's see if you can start it off. Dr. Mudley, you are also in the audience. And I know that Ms. Gloria has mentioned your name in her presentation. So if you'd like to give us a comment before the students start, I'd appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Governor. No, I think it's a very interesting study, especially considering the second last slide there, that debacle between ESCOM and Oracle, and the fact that your systems like Oracle and JP Edwards and Sage and so forth are largely dominated by certain, certain sector of the world. So something of this nature, and an innovative project of this nature is really very good for the continent and the country as well. So well done, and I wish you everything the best on that.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Dr. Mudley. The floor is open to our students. Mr. Hadebe, come on, start it off. Give us a question. I'm sure there's something.
Morning, Gloria. Morning, Gloria.
Good morning.
How are you, Gloria?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, I would like you to clarify me on the PSA, MSA, and the EDVIAN. I don't understand that point.
Okay, PCA, MCA, and avian application. Well, yes. This is scientific, statistical scientific method that I use to solve research problems. The PCA, for example, is principal component analysis. Now, it's used to look at, anyway, in my in the context of ERP and the other work that I say I did with relation to auditing, I actually used the PCA method to look at the variability of these critical success factors. In other words, I'm saying that the structure of these factors varies across organizations or enterprises. So one factor might be actually used in one organization but might not be used in another organization. Now, understanding the The variability of those critical success factors will help organizations in order for them to identify or go through the list of critical success factors that are necessary for ERP implementation in their own setting. Okay. Next, the MCA.
Okay.
The MCA, on the other hand, it's multiple correspondent analysis. So the multiple correspondent analysis looks at association. It's an extended branch of factor reduction as well. So we're saying that as much as there is these factors, like one of the problems where they said the critical success factors, I think one publication said the critical success factors are too much, they're enormous, they are, and there's no insight to get out of it. So we have, like in my study, I uncovered about 205 critical success factors. Now, the MCA says, yes, that might be the case, but with the right data analytic, we can actually find insight into these factors. Now, so the MCA looks at the associations of these factors to one another. So there's actually a publication that was made with that. And then the last one is ADVIANT. Now, ADVIANT, which is Advanced Impact Analysis, looks at the interrelationship between these factors and also rank them in terms of active and passive. So in this particular analysis, we just selected a few, which was maybe 20, and looked at them. Okay, Hadebe, have I answered your question?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And you said we like Africa, we must develop our own technology, like our own ERP system.
Yes,
Is there any studies
yes.
to that? Are there any studies into that?
Well, I can't really say that there isn't, but to the best of my knowledge, I haven't seen any pioneering African developed project that seems to support an African-based software development, which is something that I heard, given that SAP, if you know about SAP, they use worldwide, Oracle as well, and this SAP is actually based in Germany, and Oracle is in the US. So I don't know if you've heard of any tech or integrated information system that comes from Africa.
No, I haven't. That's why I'm asking. So, what are the what is constraining Africa from developing their own technology? Like, what's restraining from it?
I would say that some of the reason why African is not developing their own technology is the lack of support. Like there is an idea, there is a need for it, but there is no support that pioneer or guides that idea. Another will also be the lack of creativity or critical thinking. So nobody is looking into how can we do our own, but they're looking into how can we support what is already there. So it's purposely based on, I would say it's individually based, and also lack of support when it comes to fostering and also nurturing those goals. Like my work actually has created or highlighted that this is really relevant if we are looking in putting our foot down when it comes to the IT revolution, or when it comes to the food industrial revolution. We should consider developing our own software.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. I get you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I just want to interject there, Mr. Hadebe and Ms. Gloria. I think Mr. Hadebe has hit on an important point. Maybe he'll be the one who will develop and design this new ERP system from South Africa. Yes. So, Mr. Hadebe, there's a challenge. I know you like to make money in WebTrader on Standard Bank, but why not go into ERP systems, right? So thank you very much. Thank you for explaining all those concepts, the PCA, MCA, and ma'am, you spoke about, Dr. Modley has a question. Dr. Modley, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thanks very much. Gloria, you see, when we talk about developing a system for the African continent, And you're quite right. There are many smaller systems that have been developed for specific purpose. But if you look at things like JP Edwards, its German system, and Sage and Oracle and so forth. Now, for many, many years, the National Treasury of South Africa was trying to develop a system called the Integrated Financial Management System. Remember that government in South Africa has been using systems that were developed abroad. First, the financial management system, and then the basic accounting system, and Purcell and so forth, systems that were developed and then recrafted to the South African environment. But for several years now, National Treasury, together with CETA, the State Information Technology Agency, we're trying to come up with a custom-made software system, not even software system, for the South African government. But several factors impact on that, not the least of them being corruption and all of these things, and loss of money, budget overruns, and so forth. So I'm not certain whether Dr. Governor and Gloria, somebody could actually create a research project that goes and look at what happened in this whole financial IFMS project, and probably if there's a probability of resuscitating or even taking it away to build on whatever, because a lot of money and effort and time was spent on that project. There were certain modules that were developed or so-called coming to close to fruition, like your procurement module and so forth. And at some point, it just went stop thereafter. So there's a lot of work has been done. It is a South African initiative. It was supposed to be meant for the South African environment, but it seems to have come to a stop, come to a standstill. So I'm not sure if there is any probability of maybe a collaborative project between a university, like our university, and the National Treasury to maybe look further, explore that project, and probably there's a probability of resuscitating it. Thank you.
Interesting. I find that very interesting.
Yes, yes. So do I, Gloria. Thank you, Ms. Dr. Modley, for that insight. And students, any questions, any further questions for Ms. Gloria? Ms. Gloria, you mentioned something about the fourth industrial revolution. And you want to just expand on that a little for the benefit of my students, please, and for the benefit of our recording, if you don't mind.
Okay. The fourth industrial revolution, we actually saying that that's the time that we are actually in right now. And it's looking at diverse aspects such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, and how does it all fit in, and technology in diverse aspects. Internet of Things as well, connected together. So in the fourth industrial revolution, and if you have noticed, there's a lot that is happening that includes smart cities, smart home. You've got ubiquitous computing, which is computing that resides in the background. So in this particular era, we are actually in that phase where there's a whole lot happening when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution. And in many areas and many fields as well, it has actually been applicable, especially in the pandemic. If you guys will if you guys would have noticed, there was a whole lot that was being employed when it comes to the development of vaccines. And one of those actually came from the contribution of the machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that was being integrated to actually bring about different combination or different structure when it comes to alignment of some of those structure in the development of the vaccine, and also assisting when it comes to controlling and monitoring the COVID pandemic as well. Now that's in the health area, but in other areas as well, there is an increase when it comes to data analytics and data science. And data science has actually been gaining ground lately. Many companies are trying to see how can we make sense of the data that we already had. I think I mentioned in the previous presentation that I did that there was also another interest from the Department of Health with their DHIS system. So they've got data that spans for about 10 years. And again, coining to our own discussion, this software is also not South African based, but it's been used in South Africa. Apparently it's from the Norway. And this data spans for like 10 years. And they're like, what can we take out of this data? What insight can we take out of this data? The ERP system, for one, as well, is generating lots of data in terms of its interactions, in terms of the transactions that are being done, like billion transactions may be done a day. So what can we leverage from this transaction to deliver insight? So just to summarize, the fourth industrial revolution, it's here and it's happening, and it's left for Africa to actually see how they fit in. I remember one time, if not last year or so, there was a talk about Johannesburg being developed into a smart city. That's part of the fourth industrial revolution. And I think there are others as well, other cities globally, which are actually going or diving towards that direction.
Thank you very much. A lovely response. And I'm so glad that it's coming from you, and my students can identify with you in that if you can do it, so can them, right? Mr. Hadebe, Ms. Jagannath, Mr. Kumalo, Mr. Nair. And I don't think there's any other questions, Ms. Gloria. In fact, we've overstepped our time, and I'm so happy that you were able to share your knowledge with us. I always say sharing is caring, and caring is sharing.
So,
yes. So the universe will definitely reward you. I want to wish you well in your studies. I'm sure you're going to continue with the, a PhD thereafter. And I'm so glad that you have validated what I've been talking about. You mentioned SAP. SAP is what I'm using to teach the students. Believe it or not, we are actually logging into a survey in Germany to access this, this software. And I hope that maybe you'll inspire somebody from this group. You never know. In about 5 to 10 years' time, someone will come up to you and say, hey, Gloria presented, and now I've developed and designed software, or I've been part of a group that have successfully implemented software in South Africa, and now we are using it in the continent of Africa. And Germany and UK and US are coming and asking us, South Africans, what's going on.
So, that would be a good reward.
Of course it will. So, Gloria, on behalf of my students and on behalf of Dr. Mudley, who's here, and our department, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I wish you well.
Thank you too. Thank you all for being there, and thank you.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Gloria. I shall stop the recording now, and I'll give you the link. So